اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك.
National Hajj Commission has made the necessary for your comfort.
The preparation is very good.
I'm very happy, extremely happy, because this is my first time.
And I prepare to follow the rules and regulations given to me.
اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك له. لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك لبيك الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Glad to have you on the program as you answer the call, your window into the activities of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON, and other Hajj-related matters. I am Rashida Abubakar, your regular anchor. We continue with the review of the just concluded 2023 Hajj, and this week, the focus is on the airlift exercise. In our Spotlight segment, we shall be looking at the plans and the measures taken by the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON, to ensure a successful airlift operation, even as the Commission had some challenging situations to grapple with. Also in the program is Making the Hajj, and the discussion is still on the conduct of pilgrims after Hajj. Other regular segments of the program include the News Diary, which highlight the activities of NAHCON and other stakeholders in the Hajj industry. In addition to this, the quiz segment is back. All these and more shortly. Stay with us.
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك.
Welcome back and thank you for being there. As usual, we'll begin the program with the News Diary. Stay tuned.
The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON, has reiterated its commitment to further strengthen the Hajj savings scheme for pilgrims to save gradually for the Hajj. NAHCON Commissioner of Policy, Personnel Management and Finance, Alhaji Hassan Noura Yakase, stated this recently in an interview in Mecca. He said sustaining the scheme will allow the Commission to run a hitch-free Hajj.
Unless and until at least we improve in our organization. And the only way we can improve is that if at least maybe 3 months, 4 months, 5 months to Hajj, we know the number of people that are exactly coming, and also we have all their finances, their money they have paid is ready. That one will enable us to even finish preparation, in fact 2 months before even the Hajj begins. So this is the idea, that this is why we brought the Hajj savings scheme, we introduced it in the way that first of all, it is the way to go.
In addition to this, Alhaji Yakase said NAHCON is set to fully start preparation for the 2024 Hajj by September this year. The NAHCON Commissioner also advocated for the establishment of an African Hajj Commission to cater for the peculiar needs of African contingents during the Hajj.
If we can come in block, we should be able to make sure that we make some impact on the whole Hajj ecosystem and the processes. That's just the idea. I believe that if we can be able to come in block, we will push a lot of things. We'll be able to sit down with Saudi Arabia and negotiate some things.
Recall that recently, the management of Ghana Hajj Mission visited the NAHCON office in Mecca, where issues of collaboration, among others, were discussed. Ahead of the commencement of 2024 Hajj preparations, the Kaduna State Pilgrims Welfare Agency has set the 1st of September 2023 as the date to begin collecting deposits from intending pilgrims. Executive Secretary of the agency, Dr. Yusuf Yakub, stated this in Kaduna during a radio phone-in program. He said the agency has set 3.5 million naira as initial deposit pending the final announcement by NAHCON. Dr. Yusuf said efforts will be made by NAHCON and other stakeholders to ensure that the Hajj fare is affordable for Nigerian pilgrims. In other news, the Saudi Ministry of Hajj and Umrah has announced strict penalties, including heavy fines, of 500,000 Saudi riyals for companies providing Hajj services without the necessary licenses. The regulations came as part of the preparations for the 2024 Hajj in order to uphold and enhance the quality of services rendered to pilgrims and also to curtail unauthorized service operations. The ministry said service providers are mandated to meet the standards set by the ministry with specific emphasis on offering high-quality services. In the case of failure to provide or if substandard services are offered, providers will be obliged to compensate the affected pilgrims.
Alhamdulillah, if you're just tuning in, the program is As You Answer the Call, sponsored by the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON, to keep you informed about the activities of the Commission and other Hajj-related matters. The airlift of Nigerian pilgrims is critical to Hajj operations, without which there will be no pilgrimage. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON, therefore leaves nothing to chance in ensuring that Nigerian pilgrims are airlifted to Saudi Arabia and back home after the Hajj. The just concluded 2023 Hajj was no different. NAHCON worked assiduously to ensure a successful outing. Our spotlight segment tonight will highlight the successes, challenges, and the lessons from the 2023 Hajj airlift operations. Keep watching.
لبيك لبيك اللهم لبيك 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 اللهم لبيك 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 اللهم لبيك.
For the first time in a decade, 95,000 Nigerian pilgrims performed the 2023 Hajj exercise. This was so because the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON, was able to airlift all the registered pilgrims to Saudi Arabia on schedule. Prior to the commencement of the airlift exercise, which began on the 25th of May, NAHCON had undertaken the process of shortlisting the airliners for the airlift of pilgrims. This started with the setting up of the Aviation Monitoring and Screening Committee, headed by the Commission's Commissioner of Operation, Alhaji Abdullahi Magagi Hardawa. At a ceremony marking the inauguration of the committee, NAHCON Chairman Alhaji Zikirullah Kulle Hassan said the screening of the airliners was aimed at enlisting the services of the best in order to ensure the safety and security of Nigerian pilgrims during airlift operations. The Aviation Monitoring and Screening Committee drew its membership from the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority (NCAA), Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria (FAN), and Nigeria Meteorological Agency (NIMET), executives of state pilgrim welfare boards, as well as NAHCON board members, among others. In an effort to secure suitable aircrafts, NAHCON provided guidelines to aid the committee in their choice. The guidelines include, among others, to ensure applicants have Boeing 747 and 300 new series aircraft with capacity to carry a minimum of 450 passengers, or other wide-bodied aircraft with capacity to carry a minimum of 300 passengers, in addition to having a backup aircraft. The aircraft to be deployed for the operations shall meet the regulatory requirements of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority (NCAA) and the Saudi Arabian General Authority of Civil Aviation (GACA). The company must possess valid Air Transport License (ATL), Air Operating Permit (AOP), and Air Operating Certificate (AOC), and must be active operationally. Others are evidence of financial capability to fund the airlift, current 3 years tax clearance certificates of the company, and evidence of ability to make available reliable flight schedule for operation not less than 8 weeks before the commencement of airlift.
We had about the 767.
Over the years, NAHCON has made it a tradition to subject all airliners interested in flying Nigerian pilgrims to thorough screening, and for the 2023 Hajj, the pattern was maintained. And so, the executives of the 9 airliners that applied to either convey passengers or to carry pilgrims' excess luggage appeared before the Aviation and Monitoring Committee for screening.
We were asked to bring some documents which we have them with us here for the 3 aircraft that we intend to use for.
At the end of the exercise, a report was submitted to the federal government, which subsequently approved 5 airlines to airlift pilgrims from 36 states, the FCT, and the armed forces. The airlines were Max Air, Asman Air, Fly NAS, Air Peace, and Aero Contractor. With this development, NAHCON signed agreements with the airliners, first with Fly NAS and then with the other carriers after deliberations between NAHCON, state, and airliners on how to overcome the price challenges posed by the crisis in Sudan. The signing of the agreements took place on Tuesday, the 9th of May 2023 in Hajj House. NAHCON Chairman Alhaji Zikirullah Kulli Hassan appreciated the airlines for considering the plight of Nigerian pilgrims when fixing prices for flight tickets.
I am very sure our airlines are up to the task, and when we sign the agreement today, it will be a real indication that our airlines are patriotic, and that comes first before their business concern. We are not unaware of the fact that if the cost of the air ticket is not able to meet the minimum cost of the operation may have to stop midway, and we don't want that.
Managing Director of Aero Contractor, Captain Ado Sanusi, and the Chairman of Air Peace, Chief Allen Onyema, spoke on the increase of flight tickets.
We are not looking for a profit out of it. We're just looking to cover our cost. And we did the calculation, which we presented. At that calculation, we came up with a figure of $400 per ticket because it's 4 ways. So if we're going to go 4 ways, that our calculation came to about $400 per ticket.
We care for the pilgrims. Like you said, they are very indigent members of the public. Most of them be performing this pilgrimage for the first time in their lives. A lot of them saved for this day, and they had already paid. We are very mindful of this, and asking them to bear our entire costs will be doing the unthinkable.
NAHCON Commissioner of Operations, Alhaji Abdullahi Magaji Hardawa, talked on other strategies to support the airlines, particularly on matters related to aviation fuel.
We are encouraging NNPC to come to support the operation. And we had discussion with them last week. We are adjourned to allow them further consult on 3 critical issues. One is the pricing arrangement. Second is the logistics, because some of the airports we may be operating in and out may not have sufficient facilities for fuel arrangement. So they will look into that. And the third issue is the mode of payment.
With Nigeria having 95,000 pilgrims, NAHCON and the airliners had agreed and deployed more aircrafts during the airlift exercise. The Commission also worked with stakeholders to avoid incidences of flight cancellations, which almost marred the 2022 Hajj. With this plan in place, NAHCON carried out the first leg of the airlift operations successfully and on schedule.
In order to airlift everybody, we made a reservation of 5 flights extra, that in the event that there are any Nigerian who had visa but had issue of flight, had proper documentation to come. It was only yesterday morning that we canceled all those flights. Otherwise, they were ready to fly.
With the help of Allah, Flyers was able to evacuate all the 28,900 pilgrims allocated to us, including the officials, about 29,000, whatever. So we did that on timely, and were able to successfully even help evacuate other pilgrims.
The FCT contingents were made up of 4,421 pilgrims, and more than 99% of the FCT pilgrims were able to make it to Medina before the commencement of Hajj rites. And so they went to Medina. We came in almost in 14 flights, and out of all these flights, all of them, except a few of them, all of them were able to make it to Medina.
On the return leg, NAHCON further strengthened its strategies despite the delay caused by the initial decision of Saudi authorities to move flight slots for Nigeria-bound flights to Medina instead of Jeddah.
So when we realized they gave us slots in Medina, not in Jeddah, where we traditionally depart to Nigeria, taking into consideration that, as I said earlier on, over 90% of our pilgrims had been to Medina before Arafat. And now to take them back to Medina to depart out of Medina would amount to a greater challenge for us. Besides the logistics involved, there would be financial implication.
So after much vigorous fight, by NAHCON, and they using the instrument of the ambassador's office and consulate, then we were able to succeed. And then so our carrier now start from there. If we got slot early enough as they gave to their local carrier, we would have by now be done with lifting.
The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON, completed the airlifting of Nigerian pilgrims back home on Monday, the 31st of July, in over 180 flights operated by the 5 approved airliners. The last flight had over 300 pilgrims and officials from Kaduna State.
There was some itch in the sense that when we were starting the inbound to Nigeria, the slots were not accessible to Nigerian air carrier. But still, we were able to do what we did at the beginning. The outbound journey was for 28 days, and now the inbound journey to Nigeria also is 28 days, despite the initial issues. Overall, we are grateful to Allah for having come to this successful end.
Masha Allah. Coming up next is Making the Hajj. Tonight, Sheikh Suleiman Yusuf Njoku takes us through discussions on conduct of pilgrims after the Hajj. Let's hear him.
لبيك لبيك اللهم لبيك 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 اللهم لبيك.
When pilgrims return home after performing the Hajj, they are expected to shape their behaviors with the transformative qualities of Hajj.
You have to treat people the way the Prophet ﷺ treated people during his time.
On Making the Hajj tonight, Chief Imam of Imo State, Sheikh Suleiman Yusuf Njoku, takes us through discussions on how pilgrims transform and live up to the morals developed during the Hajj.
Ayat of the glorious Quran made us to understand. He will say, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. After amanu, that is to believe, wa amilu salihat, then you have to accompany it with good deeds. And good deeds comprises everything about human behaviors. Islam is a comprehensive way of life. Islam is a religion of Allah, and by His mercy, He guides those by His will. We are being considered as newly born babies because we believe that inshallah our Hajj is accepted. When you remember Allah, فَأَذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرُكُمْ وَاشْكُرُوا لِي وَلَا تَكْفُرُونَ. When you always remember Allah, فإن لم تكن تراه فإنه يراك فإن لم تكن تراه فإنه يراك. What are those things that whenever you are doing them, do you ask yourself, what is the position of what I'm going to do now in Islam?
Being just and to also love and live in peace with one's neighbors must reflect in the daily conduct of returning pilgrims.
In being just, you have to treat people the way the Prophet ﷺ treated people during his time. When he said, Atani al-Jibril came to me. Wakana yusini. He went ahead to warn me. He was wasiyah. That is, there is difference between al-wahi wal-wasiyah. Wasiyah is very strong. وَأَوْصَانِ بِالصَّلَاةِ وَزَكَاةِ. When wasiyah comes in, wasiyah is very, very strong than wahi. He said he was warning me against on the issue of my neighbors. He didn't say Muslims, they are Christians, they are this. He said neighbor. Neighbor is always a neighbor. You see, Alajari, wallah, he thought as if he was going to say he will also inherit you.
Another impact of Hajj on the everyday lives of the returning pilgrims is to intensify the worshipping of Allah.
Now we have finished from Hajj. That is where the true ibadah comes in. The continuity in the worship of Allah. Every month has its own benefit. Every month has its own benefit. And that is how it is. We have finished from Hajj now. Everyone will go back home. Like a newborn baby, inshallah. Is it possible for you to come back for the next year to still seek for Allah's blessings and Allah's forgiveness? It might not, you might not be able to come next year.
The Islamic scholar says Muslims must be humble in whatever they do. Sheikh Suleiman Yusuf Njoku called on Muslims to be patient and focus on doing things that will benefit them in this world and the hereafter.
Alhamdulillah. Now it's time to know the winner of last week's quiz and the question for this week. Good luck.
لبيك لبيك اللهم لبيك.
Welcome to the quiz segment. The question in the last episode was, mention the 3 types of Hajj pilgrims can decide to perform. The correct answer is 1. Hajj Tamattu'i, 2. Hajj Ifrad, and 3. Hajj Qiran. The winner is Abdullahi Garba from Kano State. He provided the answer ahead of others. Abdullahi Garba will be contacted on how NAHCON will reach him with the prize he won. A quiz winner will get 25,000 Naira cash prize. This is part of NAHCON's effort in social investment in Nigeria. Now, to the quiz for this week. And the question is, mention 3 lessons associated with Hajj. Again, mention 3 lessons associated with Hajj. Text your answer to the number showing on your screen. The winner will be the first person whose correct answer is received. All answers should carry the name and location of sender. Good luck and happy viewing.
Once again, good luck to you. Up next are your messages.
Noura Muhammad from Borno State sent in the first message. It reads, Assalamu alaikum. I have received my cash prize for the quiz. May Allah continue to bless NAHCON and Nigeria. Thank you. Amina Sali from Plateau State sent in a similar message. It says, I appreciate NAHCON for the quiz prize. We thank you for supporting and educating the Nigerians.
This is where we draw the curtain on today's program. See you same time next week with another edition of the program. But before we go, remember that you can send your messages, comments, observations and questions through our mobile phone number and other social media platforms. Once again, thanks for watching. Ma'assalam.
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا